The meeting to order, the regular meeting of the Waterloo Board of Adjustment for Tuesday, June 28th. I need an approval of today's agenda. Is there any additions or corrections?
I move the approval of the June 28th agenda as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, and approval of the May 24th, 2022 minutes.
There's just one little correction that's been made on another copy on page 5 in the package. The last word on the page is not fix, it's fit. And that file's been corrected.
Okay. Any other additions or corrections?
I move to approve the minutes from May 24th, 2022 as amended.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, it's carried. We have 3 decision items today. First item, a request by Brendan Eaton for a variance to allow for the construction of a 200 square foot detached accessory structure, chicken coop, for a total of 3,144 square feet of accessory structures, 464 square feet over the maximum of 2,680 square feet, approved by prior variance in an A1 agriculture district located at 3554 East Shawless Road. Staff report.
This is blank with staff. The applicant is requesting a variance to Chapter 5, 1051E accessory building section of the zoning ordinance to be able to construct accessory structures 1,344 square feet over the maximum 1,800 square feet, as the ordinance limits all properties within the city of limits to 1,800 square feet. The applicant received a variance in August of 2020 to allow for accessory structures up to 2,680 square feet, the additional 200 square foot chicken coop and an existing 264 square foot garage that were not included in the previous variance approval would bring the size up to a total of 3,144 square feet of detached accessory structures. The property is located on Shawless Road, just west of Cedar Terrace Drive. The property is zoned A1 agricultural district and is being used for a single-family home. The request could have a negative impact upon the surrounding area, as it would allow for larger accessory buildings to be associated with a single-family residential use. However, the request is unique in that the property is on the edge of the community in a fairly rural area, and the property in question, as well as the surrounding properties, are zoned A1 agricultural district. The area in question is on the edge of town in a fairly rural area. However, there are approximately 25 homes within 500 feet of the property. The zoning of the property is A1 agricultural district. Despite the A1 zoning, detached accessory structures cannot exceed the maximum of 1,800 square feet because the use of the property is a single-family home on less than 35 acres. However, the location of the property and zoning classification could be considered unique circumstances. The applicant owns both homes located at 3554 and 3560 East Shawless Road. The applicant previously noted intent to demolish the home at 3560 for 2 years. A new home is planned to be built in the future, and the second home will be demolished when the new home is finished. At the January 28th, 2020 Board of Adjustment meeting, the applicant was granted variances to allow for the construction of a 26-foot by 26-foot garage with a height of 20.17 inches, 5.17 inches over the 20.17 feet, 5.17 feet over the 15-foot maximum accessory structure height limit. A variance to allow for the construction of a 40-foot by 40-foot detached accessory structure with a height of 21.33 feet, 3.33 feet over the 15-foot maximum accessory structure height limit. A variance to construct 2,276 square feet of accessory structures, 476 square feet over the maximum of 1,800 square feet of accessory structures allowed, and a variance to have corrugated metal siding. The 26-foot by 26-foot garage and the 40-foot by 40-foot detached garage were never built on the lot. Instead, the applicant went before the Board of Adjustment again in August of 2020. At the August 25th, 2020 Board of Adjustment meeting, the applicant was granted a variance to allow for the construction of a 2,560 square foot detached accessory structure for a total of 2,680 square feet, 880 square feet over the maximum of 1,800 square feet, subject to a condition that the existing accessory structures exceeding the 2,680 square foot total and the home at 3560 East Charles Road be demolished within 12 months. The existing 264 square foot detached garage was not calculated into the previous variance request, causing the increase to be 464 square feet. With the additional requested 200 square foot chicken coop, it has been over 1 year since approval of the request, and the house is still existing and vacant at 3560 East Charles Road. The applicant does still intend to demolish the house. The applicant has built one 200 square foot chicken coop, the chicken coop, an existing 2,560 square foot steel utility building, and a 264 square foot garage built in 1948 is 3,144 square feet over the maximum 1,800 square feet allowed and 464 square feet more than the previously approved variance. Therefore, a variance to exceed the maximum 2,680 square feet of detached accessory structures by an additional 464 square feet for a new total of 3,144 square feet is required. There are no additional variances needed to allow for the structure to have corrugated metal siding since it is at 200 square feet. There does not appear to be a lack of reasonable return. The property is currently used for residential purposes and can have 2,680 square feet of accessory buildings on it. The property in question is unique in the fact that the property is located in a rural area and is consistent with the accessory buildings of the neighboring area and would be located on property zoned A1 agricultural district. Staff has heard no opposition to the request. The request would not appear to alter the essential character of the neighborhood, although the request could set precedent for future requests. Therefore, staff recommends that the request by Brendan Eaton for variance to allow for the construction of a 200 square foot detached accessory structure chicken coop for a total of 3,144 square feet of accessory structures, 464 square feet over the maximum of 2,680 square feet approved by prior variance in an A1 agricultural district located at 3554 East Charles Road be tabled for the following reasons. The applicant has not removed the vacant house at 3560 East Charles Road within the time frame given with the last variance, with the following condition that the house at 3560 East Charles Road be removed within 60 days of approval. The request would not return until the home has been demolished. Both structures would be deemed in violation of the zoning ordinance if not demolished within 60 days of approved by variance.
Okay. Any questions of staff?
I want to understand what the city of Waterloo's position is with the pandemic. Everything shut down in March of 2020. And it seems like the agreements imposed on this original variance there seems to be some sort of leeway that should be given that we all went through that pandemic shutdown.
This is Schrader with staff. We can certainly have the applicant get up here and address, his plans and timelines. The city of Waterloo is certainly open to that. We would note that it was the board that, the applicant came before the board and was approved for one thing, then came back a few months later and was approved again, although there was that condition from the board putting that 12-month, and at that point that was well into the pandemic time period, and we're dealing with removal of a structure, so I don't, necessarily think, it's not like, new construction and limitations on being able to get material and things like that. It's just a demolition.
Except you do need resources to demo. Human beings to demo the property.
Presumably.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, hold on. You'll have a chance.
This is Holdeman. I just have a quick question, I'm assuming, I've seen a lot of people working in demolition and so on all during the pandemic, and I'm assuming that he could have had that done within 12 months, and hasn't. So I guess I'm a little reluctant to go ahead with this proposal. Let's hear what the man has to say first.
I have a quick question. Item number, all right, it starts off, staff recommendation. Item number 1, the applicant has removed the vacant house, and then further down, there's another item 1 and 2. Item 2, it says both structures would be deemed in violation. What are we talking about by, what's both structures?
This trader with staff, so yeah, under there's a number 1, the first number 1 is a reason for the recommendation, and then below that it goes into the following conditions, so then there's a 1 and a 2 below that, which are the conditions. Within that first condition, the house at 3560 East Shawless Road be removed within 60 days of approval. That should say tabling. Again, it's up to the board however they want to handle this, but the staff recommendation was for tabling, so based on that, the recommendation would be a 60-day time period from an act of tabling. And then the 2 would be that if the house is not demolished and the request not brought back to the Board of Adjustment within that 60 days, then the house would be in violation, and the chicken coop, which exceeds the 2006-8D variance already approved.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Okay, I have a question, but it'll probably be addressed by the applicant. So is there any other questions of staff?
No.
Okay. Anyone wishes to speak in favor of the request? This will be your chance to come up, and please give your name and address.
My name is Brendan Etten, and my address is 3554 East Shawless Road.
Okay.
As she had mentioned, with the pandemic and everything, the prices of everything kind of skyrocketed, and we had not even actually fully finished the shop. We just kind of got it framed up and didn't even get concrete or anything like that. So we got done what we could get done and kind of got put to a halt, and we're in the process right now of getting that torn down. Kind of maybe not within 3 months, maybe 6 months would be doable, but I'm in the process of getting a home equity loan right now to kind of get everything finished up and get that torn down. We got the other one torn down just because that was just kind of like a lean-to, and the wind kind of helped us, like you seen there. A tree fell on it and pushed it down, but we're working on getting that torn down right now. It's kind of a nuisance to me too, so I want it out of there, but that was kind of what halted us. Everything, the prices of materials and everything just skyrocketed so far. It took up our loan, and what we were supposed to have to tear that down and demolish it kind of got taken up by materials that doubled in price and everything else. So yeah, COVID kind of screwed everything up for us.
Now, we've had this, you've been in front of us several times, so trying to go back to the very first. Wasn't it your original intention to tear down 2 houses and build 1? Wasn't that the very first intention?
Yep.
Okay. And then it changed that you were only going to tear down this house, this other house, right?
Yep.
Okay. Okay. So, are you in favor of the way this is written, that you'll be given another 60 days to get the house tore down?
Like I said, I mean, 60 days is kind of a short time frame to get it. I guess I don't know what all the rules and regulations are of getting it torn down, because I mean, it is a 2-story bigger house. I don't know what all it takes to get it torn down. I'd have to probably end up doing it myself, so it's going to take me a little bit of time to get it torn down and some dumpsters and
Yeah. Does it have a basement?
No, it doesn't. So
Okay.
it's just sitting on a cement slab. So I know it does have a well, so I'll have to get that sealed off or closed off.
So now there will be no new house built. You're going to just keep the existing house? Is that
Yep, the
what
house.
you live in?
Yep, the house to the right, we basically fully remodeled on the inside
Okay.
and live in that one for the time being. So
Okay, I'm sorry, for my purpose, I'm looking at a picture up here. It shows a red colored house.
yep, that one's the one that's getting torn down in the picture right now.
The red colored one isn't being torn down?
Yep,
That's 2 stories?
yep,
Really?
yep. That one there's a single
Yeah,
story.
this is their house they're living in.
Yep, that's a single story.
That's the house you're living in?
Yep,
Show me the 2-story house again.
that.
Where's that in this room?
If you could see it from the other side, there's actually, I can't really tell, but there's a window on that top half.
Okay.
All right. Okay.
It's like a vaulted it's a vaulted ceiling, but there's a second story up there.
Okay, thank you.
So if it was tabled, what happens to the money you paid for the permit? Stays on hold, okay.
Well, I mean, one way or another, this needs to be taken care of. These structures need to be removed.
Like I said, if I had 6 months, I could definitely do it within that time frame. I know that sounds like kind of a longer time, but just within being the heat of the summer and kind of a lot going on. But
This is Holdeman. Am I understanding correctly? He's had almost 2.5 years. It was in January of 2020.
Yeah, with 2 years of
Wasn't
pandemic.
was that? Well, I understand that, but
I mean, I know it's
I-
not your guys' problem, but I was working in Des Moines for a year and a half of that time out of town for everything but the weekends. And I know it's not your guys' problem, but
How do you
This is a
feel about
question-
90 days?
90 days, I mean, I could try to get it done in that time, I guess, but
Well, there's no try.
Yeah, I know.
If we give you 90 days, you have 90 days. If you don't live up to that, then you're,
I guess that's better than the 60 days. We can definitely work on. I can start tearing it down here as soon as I get a chance. And get her. I guess.
let me ask a question. What happens if he hasn't done it at the end of 90 days?
Yeah, that was my question. What
Just 90
what
days.
remedies does the city have?
What was the original one? 60 days?
yes.
Was it 2 months? And then 3 months?
This is Schrader with staff. It would, so it's technically in violation of the zoning ordinance right now because the Board of Adjustment approved a variance subject to a condition of 12 months, and that 12 months is lapsed. If you would approve something today, even if it's tabling the main request or approving the main request, but attaching a different condition to that would affect that condition, then at the lapse of that time period, it would put it back into violation. The city of Waterloo could proceed with an item that's in violation of the zoning ordinance by issuing a citation. We usually try and work with property owners, for instance, if he's making good progress towards the demolition, but it's just not quite down, we probably would not pursue issuance of a citation. For instance, right now it's exceeded the 12 months, but no citation has been issued. We worked with the applicant to get him back here in front of the board.
What, I guess, I'm not sure what the purpose of tabling it would do,
Right.
since they're already built,
Right.
since the items are already built. It's really just giving him an additional time frame to remove the house, plus added the buildings on. So I'm not sure
Right.
that I'm in favor of tabling it. I guess we'd want to come to a conclusion.
Staff had discussion on that as well. I mean, our concern is, ensuring that whatever is not approved by the board does get demolished in a appropriate timeline. And our thought process is that's, then providing that incentive that the chicken coop would at that point not be approved, and if it doesn't get done, it would have to come out of there as well. But
Yeah, I think
I
the
understand
outcome
your
is the
point.
same. I mean, I don't see any difference between whether we prove it today or table it for a year from now. It's not really going to make any difference.
Right.
Eric, hold on just a minute. I got a quick question for Eric. What's required of him does he have to get any permits or anything to demolish this place? How does he do this?
Yes, a demolition permit is required to demolish any structure within the city limits. He will want to check with building inspections. That might be something that he can pull the permit and do most of the work on his own. That's not my department, so I'm not too sure. I think there might be like a plumbing permit for any sort of like well or sewer disconnect that's required to be done by a licensed contractor.
How quickly is that process? If I walk up to get these,
So the demo permit has sign off of different utility companies, so not factoring in how long it takes you to get the sign offs. Once you bring in the permit's issued.
the clock
On the
starts
spot.
ticking at that point, if you will? Or if we allow 3 months, 90 days to demo this, when does the clock start ticking?
From your action,
Okay,
unless you would specify differently.
okay.
Like if you would look at, wanting to provide so much time period to obtain a demo permit and then so much time period beyond that, that would be another alternative you could look at.
Okay.
I guess I just have a question about the chicken coop. I mean, what was the deal with that? I mean, did you know that that was counted towards a building structure, or?
No, my buddy's dad used to be a contractor, and he said, I guess it's newer code within the last few years, or maybe not. No. He said that if it was small enough to pick it up and move it, that it would be, or I guess there's a square footage rule now that he said he didn't know about or something. I don't know. We didn't know that. We thought if it was like a small enough, yeah. Because we didn't know, I guess, if you even buy a shed from like Home Depot and it's over the square footage, you need a permit for it. And I didn't know that. If anything over 10 by 10 or
120 square feet.
or 10 by 12. So even if you buy a shed that's from Home Depot that's 10 by 14, I guess you would need a permit for it. And I didn't know that. So long story short, I just had leftover materials from when we built the shop, and we had the little chicken coop, and I was like, well, we'll use up what we got
That's fine.
for a little chicken run, and it ended up being bigger than what we were allowed to have. So
This is just really a comment to staff on the other garage, the 200 and whatever 64 square foot garage. I know that we approved it at square feet maximum, but it wasn't as if that building wasn't there. I think that's been already approved.
That's what we're showing it as. Because I don't know whose error was, but we're showing the total square footage with that 264 square foot garage. Your approved amount. Yeah, the new total. So, yeah, don't even,
So the variance that is being requested in this is a 464 square feet?
right,
But it's the 264 square feet garage and the 200 square
Right.
foot chicken coop. I'm just saying, I think the 264 was
Agreed.
approved in our original.
well,
I remember
This
that
is Schrader
motion.
with staff. I would say that the intent probably was to include it because there was nothing in the previous approval that talked about the demolition of that garage, but the square footage wasn't in there, and the actual approval went to a certain number and said removal of everything above that number.
Yeah,
So-
that's,
I somewhat agree with what you say,
Yeah.
but at the same token, if I was a smart lawyer, which I'm not, I would say we already approved it, so. Okay, I personally don't see any reason to table it. So I guess I would say it's not a big deal at this point. It's all there. If 90 days isn't long enough, just as long as it gets done this year, in my way of thinking.
Well, there's got to be an end date on this, so we got to put a time frame on it.
Well,
I guess it really doesn't matter because the end date is whenever he does it, and if he doesn't do it, it goes to a code violation, so.
that's a point.
But if you don't have an end date on it, how do you know when to make it a code violation?
Let's put a parameter on this,
Yeah,
okay? Let's put a parameter on
Well,
it.
I'm not saying no, but I'm just saying,
Well, the
put it-
citizen came forward and said he needs 6 months to do it. And, it's his property, he wants to improve it. It's really, I don't know, 6 months and no tabling makes sense to me.
6 months is essentially the end of the calendar year.
Correct.
Yeah. Yeah,
by the end of the calendar year,
yeah, December.
you want to make the motion?
I do, again, and I read through that other one, and I thought, holy moly, okay. Do you have something else to say to us?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Have we gone through the whole process?
We
Okay.
haven't, but
Hold that motion.
yeah, we're not quite ready for you. Anything else, Craig? Do you need to ask anything?
No?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else who would speak in favor of the request? Is there anybody who wish to speak against the request? Hearing or seeing none? If there's no other comments or questions, I'd entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the request by Brendan Etten for a variance to allow for the construction of a 200-square-foot detached accessory structure, a chicken coop, for a total of 3,144 square feet of accessory structures, 464 feet over the maximum of 2,680 square feet approved by a prior variance in an A1 agricultural district located at 3554 East Chalice Road, with the following condition: that the house at 3560 East Chalice Road be removed by 12/31/2022.
Okay, is there a second? I'll second.
Do we need to throw anything else in there as far as conditions? No? Okay. Can you second?
Any other comments, questions?
Yes, Chair can second.
Okay.
I guess the only comment I will make before we make the motion, assuming it'll be approved, is this is the last variance. Got to be done.
Yep.
I concur.
Okay? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
You opposed, Craig?
Yes.
Okay.
Carried 3-1, correct? Just make sure.
Correct, yes.
Carried.
Get her done. Yesterday.
We mean it.
Okay, our second request by Aki Auto Salvage for a excuse me, for a special permit for construction of a new 5,200 square foot storage building in the M2 Heavy Industrial District located at 1420 West Airline Highway. Staff report.
This is Dornoff with staff. The applicant is requesting to construct a 5,200 square foot building for storage to the north of their existing building, which is 8,855 square feet. The area in question is zoned M2 Heavy Industrial District, is zoned as such since the adoption of the zoning ordinance in 1969. Neighboring land uses under zoning to the north is agricultural land zoned M2 Heavy Industrial District. To the south is industrial businesses zoned M2 heavy industrial district. To the east is industrial businesses and residences zoned M2 heavy industrial district and M1 light industrial district. To the west is industrial businesses zoned M2 heavy industrial district. The future land use map designates this area as industrial. The applicants are requesting a special permit in order to add a 5,200 square foot new building in addition to their existing 8,885 square foot building. The existing building was constructed in 2006 with an addition in 2008. Because the new building is 58.5% of the size of the existing building, a special permit is required since it exceeds the maximum allowed of 50% new square footage that is allowed in their zoning ordinance to construct without a special permit. AK Auto Salvage took over the operations of Airline Auto in the summer of 2021. Airline Auto Salvage had no violations during salvage yard inspections since at least 2017, and Aggie Auto Salvage passed this year. The Planning, Programming, and Zoning Commission voted 6-0 to recommend approval of the request at their June 14th, 2022 meeting. Therefore, staff recommends the request by AK Auto Salvage for a special permit for construction of a 5,200 square foot storage building in the M2 Heavy Industrial District located at 1420 West Airline Highway be approved for the following reasons. The request is in compliance with the comprehensive plan, future land use map for the area. The request would not appear to have a negative impact on traffic conditions or the surrounding neighborhood. The special permit is only required due to the size of the new building being 58.5% the size of the existing building, with the following addition that the final site plan meet all applicable city codes, regulations, etc., including but not limited to parking, landscaping, drainage, etc.
Okay. Any questions of staff?
Are any objections?
None.
Okay.
Okay. Does anybody in the audience wish to speak in favor of the request? Yeah. Hearing or seeing none, is there,
I have a question for Mr. Akey.
you have a question, what?
For Mr. Akey. You're Mr. Akey, right?
Yes, Jeff.
Name and address, please.
Jeff Ike, 1420 West Airline Highway.
Real quickly, you do or did have such a facility on Independence Street in Cedar Falls?
I did.
What's the status of that?
I still have it. I guess I really don't know what's gonna happen. I'm gonna try to get the city to buy me out flood stuff, but I really ain't. I've talked to them a little bit. I have probably 800 cars up there yet that we're just eventually just gonna smush out, and we're cleaning the property all up, and hopefully they buy me. That's what my plan is.
So your intent is to stop doing business there?
I'm not doing no business there.
Clean up the site?
Correct.
So everything will now be on Airline?
It already is. I mean, we're not open up there no more. We're all on Airline now.
Okay. All right, thank you.
And we're just busy. So I'm doing up there little by little, I got me and another guy that go up there when we're not swamped at my work where we're at. And we're about starting to clean it up.
Okay. But nothing else is coming in there now?
Oh, no.
You're done? That's over?
Nope, everything's going out.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
All right, thank you.
Yep. Uh-huh.
Yeah. Anybody wish to speak against the request? Hearing or seeing none, if there's no questions, I would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the request from Ike Auto Salvage for a special permit for construction of a new 5,200 square foot storage building in the M2 Heavy Industrial District located at 1420 West Airline Highway for the following reasons. Number one, the request is in conformance with the comprehensive plan and future land use map for this area. Number two, the request would not appear to have a negative impact on traffic conditions in the area. Number three, the request would not appear to have a negative impact on the surrounding area. Number four, a special permit is only required due to the size of the new building being 58.5% of the size of the existing building with the following condition: that the final site plan will meet all applicable city codes, regulations, etc., including but not limited to parking, landscaping, drainage, etc.
Second.
Yeah? Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yeah. Opposed? All right. It's been approved. The final request of the day is a request by Hawkeye Community College for a special permit to establish an automation and robotics education center on the second floor of the Tech 1 building at the Cedar Valley Tech Works, and a variance to the parking requirements to allow for 210 parking spaces, 100 spaces less than the 310 spaces required in the M2 Planned Industrial District located at 360 Westfield Avenue. Staff report.
This is Schrader with staff. The special permit and variance would not appear to have a negative impact on the surrounding area, as this plan has been in the works to create the new lab at this location. The use would be compatible with the area that consists of office space, industrial, and hospitality. Hawkeye Community College is asking for the special permit to establish an automation and robotics center and a variance to the parking requirements to allow for 210 parking stalls, which is 100 less than the 310 required. The new lab will be on the second floor of the Tech 1 building at the Cedar Valley Tech Works site located at 360 Westfield Avenue. The scope of the curriculum is on the manufacturing industry, and the lab will have robot work cells, and much of the floor space is devoted to the lab and these work cells. Plans are to begin offering the courses in January of 2023, starting with the industrial maintenance program, which will have a max of 16 students. There will also be Ignite into manufacturing, which will have up to 10 students in the morning and evening. Therefore, there could be up to 26 students in the morning and 10 in the evening. There will be 20 full-time staff at the location, but they will be spread out through the day during the hours of operation from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. Hawkeye Community College also mentioned that with the commonness of remote work, there would be about 15 people consistently in the building in their space. A use of a higher education facility requires 1 parking stall per 2 students of the maximum occupancy and 1 for every person regularly employed on the premise. The student area has an occupancy of 329, which equates to 165 parking stalls. And with 20 staff, the total number of parking stalls required for this particular use within the building is considered 185. 4.5 hours of their operations would not coincide with the existing tenants in the building, which include Lincoln Savings Bank and UNI's Metal Casting Center and Grow Cedar Valley. UNI's Metal Casting Research Center operates from 7:30 to 4, while Lincoln Savings Bank and Grow Cedar Valley are 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. These 3 uses are professional office, industrial type uses, which require 1 parking stall per 2 employees on the maximum working shift. There are 13 employees at Greater Cedar Valley Alliance, 6 at UNI, and 175 at Lincoln Savings Bank, with plans to add another 56 employees in the near future, totaling 231 employees. Grow Cedar Valley requires 7 parking stalls. The UNI, only 3, in the Lincoln Savings Bank, 111, not including remote workers. There are 210 parking stalls on the site, and between the Lincoln Savings Bank, UNI, and Grow Cedar Valley, 121 parking stalls are required. Staff spoke with Lincoln Savings Bank staff, and they utilize a hybrid schedule where employees are on site 2 to 3 days a week and work from home the other days, along with other remote workers. The 10 remote workers were not included in the parking calculations. The required number of parking stalls for LSB, including the 56 future jobs, is 92 parking stalls. Based on the information provided by Hawkeye Community College and Lincoln Savings Bank, it would not appear that the new Hawkeye Community College lab would negatively affect parking on the site by having less than 100 stalls as required by the ordinance. Also, there is room to expand parking behind the Tech One building if parking is deemed to become a problem in the future, but we don't anticipate that it will. Therefore, staff recommends approval of the request for a special permit to establish an automation and robotics center and a variance to the parking requirements to allow for 210 parking stalls, 100 less than the 310 required, located at 360 Westfield Avenue, as a request would appear to be compatible with the surrounding area, which is primarily comprised of office, commercial, and industrial uses. The request would not appear to have a negative impact on the surrounding area or on vehicular or pedestrian traffic movements in the area, and is located in a major arterial in the transportation network. The request is in conformance with the future land use map and comprehensive plan for this area, which designates it as industrial. And the variance request is unique based on the number of students and staff that are spread out through the day, and there is room to expand parking behind the building. In addition, Lincoln Savings Bank uses a hybrid schedule that has employees working in the office 2 to 3 days a week and 10 remote workers, which lessen the demand for parking. There is a 4.5-hour time frame where the uses of the proposed use do not overlap with the uses of the existing tenants. And that's the staff report. Any questions?
Eric, aren't you going to read these 2 pages to us?
So the plan submitted actually included quite a few more pages than that of even more mundane detail that I cut from the packet as not being necessary for your review.
Well,
Like the type of doors and stuff.
yeah, it would probably wouldn't need to be included, especially since I can't read any of it anyway. Doesn't, and I don't know what it means anyway. And just probably your best picture for approval of this is page 34 when you took the picture on Monday, and there was a lot of spaces. Okay, any other questions of staff? Any serious questions of staff?
This is a good deal to have a lab.
Yeah, it's a great project.
Okay. Is there a person in the audience who will speak in favor of the request? Okay.
Good afternoon. Surgeon Golub with Hawkeye Community College.
And you need your name and address.
Yep. Surgeon Golub, 1501 East Orange Road, Waterloo, Iowa.
Okay.
I mean, what they presented, pretty much what I had to say, but yeah, I'm in favor. It's a great project. We talked to a lot of different people, with the city, gaming commission, other colleges, other stakeholders, businesses. There's overall support for the project. Now, one question I did have was, how did you arrive with that parking number? Well, max capacity is up there. Just no way we can have that many students there at any given time.
This is Schrader with staff. Tim Andera from our office is the one that's kind of handled this request. And I know determining the parking requirement was very difficult, but he tried to work with the existing tenants and the building official on determining occupancy, but it's kind of based on the max that you could put in there, not what you really are going to put in there,
Right.
which is why a variant,
Yeah, just
that
from a
coupled with
teaching perspective,
yeah,
it's
not
not
going to be a
possible.
problem.
Right. Yeah. So, in favor.
Okay.
Hey, John.
Hi, Golub, how are you?
Hey, not too bad.
When this thing really takes off,
Yeah.
what's the maximum number of students you anticipate being enrolled there?
I mean, at an absolute max, 40 at any given time. To be able to provide good instruction, there's no way we can have more than 40 at a time. Just between the staff, because it's all going to be hands-on. So the equipment that we're getting, it's actually real equipment. So these robot cells, it's legitimately a FANUC robotic cell. So there's only 1 to 2 people that you can have to that cell. And then you need to have an instructor or lab assistant that's going to be there to assist and observe. There's just no way to do more than that. So about 40 at any given time would be the max.
Great, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? Thank you.
Cool, thanks.
Anybody?
I do have a check. It's like a fee, $200 and some dollars. Who do I give that to? You were really quick. Yeah, I can get your receipt tomorrow. Awesome. You just want to email me? That'd be fine.
Okay. Are there any objections? Anybody in the audience wish to speak against the request? Okay. I would entertain a motion unless there's other comments.
Mr. Chair, I'll make the motion to approve the request by Hawkeye Community College for a special permit to establish an automation and robotics center and a variance to the parking requirements to allow for 210 parking stalls, 100 less than the 310 required, located at 360 Westfield Avenue for the following reasons. Number one, the request would appear to be compatible with the surrounding area, which is primarily comprised of office, commercial, and industrial uses. Number two, the request would not appear to have a negative impact upon the surrounding area. Number three, the request would not appear to have a negative impact upon vehicular and pedestrian traffic in the area, as the use is located to major arterials in the transportation network. Number four, the request is in conformance with the future land use map and comprehensive plan for this area, which designates it as industrial. Number five, the variance request is unique based on the number of students and staff that are spread out throughout the day, and there is room to expand parking behind the building. In addition, Lincoln Saving Bank's use of a hybrid schedule that has employees working in the office 2 or 3 days a week and 10 remote workers lessens the demand for parking. And finally, number six, there is a 4.5-hour time frame where the use is outside the working hours of the current uses on site.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Is there any other discussion for the good of the cause? Not, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you.